Okay, awesome. Here we go. So, warm welcome to every single one of you on day 5 of How to Be an Impeccable Speaker. Now, today is going to be day when we're going to be answering some questions. There's a huge list of questions which we have. We're going to be taking some live questions and then we'll go to the questions which have been come into the form of the form. So, go ahead, Priyadarshini. You can, whosoever has a question, show me the raise of hands and I'm going to be allowing you to talk. Priyadarshini, go ahead and you can unmute yourself and shoot your question. Shoot your question.
Yeah. Hi, Shruti.
Hi.
Yeah. Uh, Good afternoon. Thank you for wonderful sessions. And
Most welcome, dear.
my question, sir, I want to know about how videos actually we have to prepare for super speaker. In all total, approximately, I want to know about that.
How to prepare for the super speaker or how to prepare for any speech?
Uh, for super speaker, I want to specially know how many
Okay.
videos or what is the process, how many times. That's what I wanted to know.
Okay. So with respect to the super speaker, for all the ones who's applying for the super speaker, I can talk for the season 1 because I don't know if there's going to be some of the changes in the season 2, but we had around 4 to 5 to 6 challenges. The first challenge was what success means to me. Then it's going to be on book. Then there's going to be on your favorite character. Then there was Inspirathon, which was about creating, which was on Clubhouse, sharing a story on anyone who has inspired us. And that's the place wherein we built 2 world records. So after that, as you keep moving ahead on the stage by stage, there's going to be next challenge. You're going to be getting, you're going to be getting passed with that. So if you're going to be asking me what is going to be for season 2, I'm not too sure if it's going to be same set of challenges, but what I know for a fact is the first challenge is same, which is what success to me means to me. So what I would say is instead of focusing on what's going to be coming in future, let's focus on what we have right now and put our best to deliver that. Because every single time we deliver one challenge, every single time we kind of give that out, we automatically raise ourselves to the next level and we prepare, we make ourselves ready for the next challenge which is coming our way. Does that help, Priyadarshini?
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
of course, if you're going to be reaching till Super 10, then probably there's going to be, the live uh, the live challenge which is going to be happening for every one of us.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Most welcome. Thank you so much for asking that question. Okay, anyone has live question? Show me the raise of hands. If you have a live question, I would love to take live question. Otherwise, I have a list of queries and I'm going to be going to those queries as well. Let me just go in here. Okay, so the first question is that speaking for me is not a problem, but how to speak continuously without forgetting all that you had to say with the same impact that one can do. How many of you have the similar kind of a question that, talking is not a challenge, but the challenge is when we have to talk it in a particular format, in a particular structure, especially with the timeline. And, if you're doing TED or if you're doing something like super speaker, it's always that time is what creates the pressure. Now, I want you all to know that it's just a matter of practice. There's no magic pill which I'm going to be giving to you all that, aise karenge or aise ho jayega. It's all a power of practice. And in yesterday's video, I've actually shared how to do the preparation, how to do the preparation for the delivery. Now it's very different from, whether it's a TED or whether it's anything like super speaker. It's very different from the regular webinars, the regular workshops which we conduct, wherein we just turn on the camera and we just go on and can go in any direction. You could be using 10 sentences to explain the same word. You cannot do that when you're doing for a TED or you're doing for something which is time bound. So what do is, as I explained the yesterday webinar, yesterday session as well, is which is there on YouTube. You can check it out. How to prepare for the delivery. The first thing is you need to have your pointers in place. You should be preparing at least 3 to 4 days in advance. You should not be rushing into it. Have the pointers in place. Make the script and then time it. Now, when you time it, usually the first time what we do is we read the script and we put the timer on, right? Now, when we are reading the script and we are putting the timer on, what I want you to know is most of the time, you will take lesser time to deliver. When you're reading and you are timing it. You'll take lesser time to deliver. Now, when you're going to be delivering in reality, you need to take your pauses. You need to use your body language. You need to go into a flow instead of when we're doing that. So when you take pauses and when you attach it, and as I told you, in our day 3 or day 2 session, that your body language is not the power and just in the content. The power isn't going to be the context, how you're delivering that speech. So when you do that, it's extremely important for you to build that context and have that confidence of saying it aloud. And when you say it, you will not remember it at one shot. You need to practice, 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 and remember it. The way I had done was every speech of mine was divided into 4 line of paragraphs. So I used to remember that the first chunk is about this, the second chunk is about this. So it's like, building a mental slot that this is the first chunk, this is the second chunk, this is the third chunk, and this is the fourth chunk, and then my speech is done. Now, what I do is when I memorize, I only memorize chunk, and then I only mental slot that first chunk is about this, second is this, third is this, fourth is that. Now, when you go on stage and when you're actually doing it, you don't have to remember everything because you have practiced enough and it comes into the flow. But if you're someone who say, okay, I have not practiced much, I've just written it, and let you just go out and say it, there's a high chance you'll go out of time because you're going to be going everywhere in this direction. I'm not saying word by word, you're going to be remembering it, but you still need to know that these are my pointers which you're going to be talking about and practice beforehand. Now, the couple of the ways to practice is not just by writing the content. First time is writing the content, then is memorizing it. The last step towards it, which I shared in one of my, in one of the Impeccable Speaker video as well, is go in front of the mirror and practice. Watch your expressions, look how do you look like, see that how you're using your body language, how are you moving, are you someone who's like talking like this or are you someone who's talking like this, right? We spoke about this in one of the sessions that some of us make it like this, somehow like, and we actually can use our shoulders and our chin to increase our height by 2 inches. So use all these elements. It's just the practice which is going to making you to memorize and say it. Even if you go 1 line here and 1 line there, does not matter. But if you have someone who's saying लिख लिया और अभी जाके बोल देंगे तो हो जाएगा, that's not happening for any one of us. I want you to know all of us, the Super 10 speakers, all of it had really, even before we were going onto the stage and before our turn used to come, because we used to get our numbering, which we had got on the stage. Behind the stage when we were all walking, literally walking from one corner to the other, talking our speech and remembering it so that it becomes such an autopilot. It becomes like wiring inside and it just comes out, as a natural thing instead of we thinking what now to talk, what now to talk, what not to talk. And I think when it is 1.5 minutes, it's very easy to do that. It just need a little more time for us to practice. Yes. Awesome. I hope that answers your question. Yeah, Meenakshi, you can unmute yourself and ask your question if you have one. Just go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question. Do you have a question, Meenakshi, or is just that, you remove me for the challenge you get? Okay, so okay, no question. So anyone in the room has a question, feel free to show me the raise of hands and I would personally take your question. So that was a question by Pratiksha, which I just answered. The next one is, I don't get content in my mind while I speak. I go blank. I create well on paper, but I have to practice several times only to deliver 40%. So need to tackle that. I think that's a problem for all of us. And it's just a matter of practicing little more. When we are saying that I have learned it, I've said this, and then I'm only delivering 40%, it's just an indication that the 60% also has to be memorized, practice too many times in front of the camera, in front of the, especially for something like Super Speaker and TED. For your Insta lives, for your webinars, you may not even go 100% remembering. You don't have to do that as something which is you. But when it's time bound, you need to practice little long enough and then see where the places you're taking more time and cut off. I want you all to know in my speech or what India means to me, before I was going on the stage, I actually took off the complete paragraph out because I personally believe that I want to use more of my body language. I want to take more time, in using the pauses and taking those smiles and to using that word pause, the stress on the words. And I need more time on that instead of me, telling everything. If you are someone who's in that state of, I want to tell everything and people need to know everything, not gonna work. Less is more. Make sure that every single line which you're talking is powerful. And I've given you enough of strategies how to make that happen during our second video, right? How to craft our speech, how to make it more powerful instead of saying, you know what, I need to tell my story. I'm going to be telling my story in every from starting till the end. You don't have to do that. You just need to see what is the powerful way for you to use lesser words and to be able to land into the mind of others. And that's the place wherein never explain. Know it for a fact that the audience is smart. When you've said this line, it means they have got it. The more we get into the explanation of fir aise hua, fir aise hua, fir aise hua, then we use all the amazing time which we have in terms of going deeper into just one area, and then kinds of may not be able to create a content, that kind of impact for yourself. So practice the only way. Now another thing which I did was, which is very very interesting, it just struck me a day before, me, I was going to Chennai for the Super Speaker finale. So I knew that for a particular speech, I didn't get enough time to practice. And this was something which I didn't do well. And this is my big learning, which I gave to all of you in my yesterday's video, is that don't keep it on the last day. Make sure that your first draft is at least ready 4 days before. For me, I did a mega blunder of keeping, of working on my speech literally on the last 2 days. And that kind of created a lot of pressure, because of which I didn't have enough time to memorize it and kind of see it and see it, how it kind of, it's kind of working out for me. So first thing is, don't do it at the last moment. Don't be me at all. Now, the second thing which I did for myself, since I realized that maybe I've not been able to memorize it, maybe the pressure of the lights, the pressure of the stage might hit my head. And so what did I do was, before leaving from home, I actually recorded my speech on a smart recorder on my mobile. I recorded in the same tonality, with the same pauses, with the same kind of, as if I'm actually delivering it. And then what I did was, during my flight, I actually tuned into it to listen to it again and again, because in flight, I can't be saying what India means to me is, Sachin, I can't be doing, people say, whooshy, she's gone mad. So instead, what I did was, I was listening to my own speech again and again to kind of, make it go into my subconscious level, to make it very part of my being. And that's where it gets natural. I know for a fact, on stage, I didn't find it as a challenge at all, that I had to remember my speech. That was not a problem I faced, because practiced enough times. So I hope some of these tips are helping. Do you guys, did this help? Give me H in the helpful in the chat window if this is something which helped. So these are the multiple ways for us to kind of memorize. The way I memorize is, I'll tell you. So my first part of India speech is India, Bharat. It's not a country based on uniqueness, but on sameness. You walk in any direction, you'll find people who talk. So that was my first chant. The moment I said this is my first time. So I remember I'm going to be talking about diversity in my first paragraph. This is how I remember. The second thing was, India is hope. So hope was the second part, wherein I said that at one corner, people are starving, in another corner, faith is serving the humanity by running the world's largest community kitchen. So hope was my second mental slot, which I had remembered that I have to talk about hope. Now, the third part of it was that India is chaotic. India is chaotic. It has pollution. It has, corruption. It has bribery. So the third slot for me was, I have to talk about chaos in India. So that's the third thing which I had remember. The last part, the fourth part, was that India is an emotion. India is an all hat. And I spoke about Sachin and all. So that was my fourth slot, which I had remembered. I have to talk about this fourth thing about India. And the last one was my conclusion that India is a pulse. So in my head, I had 5 of them. Rather, I had 6 of them. Sixth one I kind of removed before I went on the stage. But I had five things which I had to talk about. Now, every single thing then becomes a very small part, which I've kind of memorized. Chota chota 4 lines memorize karni hai. So 4 4 4 4 4 4 4 you memorize, and you have to memorize 5 topics, and that's how you deliver. It's just a strategy we applied for myself, because I personally, I'm not very good at memorizing and then staying in timeline. That's one of the challenges I've always faced. So see if that kind of work out and help. And yesterday I've given you a very amazing way for you to be able to memorize as well. Thank you so much for saying India's speech was amazing. Anyone has any more questions? Show me the raise of hands. Otherwise, I'm going to be going to the questions which I've got in the, okay. Okay, anyone has questions? Show me the raise of hands. I'll take your question. Otherwise, I'm going to the questions which I've got into the form. Okay, want to know your strategies. Okay, I've given all my strategies in the last 5 sessions. Need to muster courage to speak and do workshops. I think that's something which we all need. That's something which we all need. I always say this. Some of us are really blessed to be confident right from our childhood. Well, I have not been one of them. I've never been on stage ever in my life. The first time I stood on stage was when I was a 2-year-old girl. And I that decision I didn't make. My parents put me on the stage. And after that, ever in my life, I've never stood on the stage. I never had the courage to. And what I've also realized is that sitting behind, watching people does not build your confidence. Sitting behind and watching them does not build your confidence. You need to go there, just like you lying on the bed and assuming that you'll build your body muscles is not going to be happening. You lying on your bed and watching someone exercising is not going to be building your body muscle, right? Similarly, watching someone will not build your muscle. You need to go there. So what I would say is start taking small steps to be able to build one layer of your confidence. Now, the moment you have built that, then you take the next step, then the next step. Automatically, you'll see how the trail will convert to the path, and then that path will get converted to road, and that road will get converted to a highway. So, confidence is a muscle, and me personally would say this with utmost confidence and conviction that becoming a speaker is a learnable skill. If I can do it, was never done it ever in my life. I think anyone can do it. The only thing is you need to start going and picking up the opportunities to, you know, to go out and say, instead of me saying, let me think, let me do it, but I don't know it, but I don't, and all of that stuff. Let us say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and yes, I'm going to be there. And this is something which I implemented for my own self when I was studying image consulting. I still remember I used to be this person who used to sit like this behind, piche, bilkul aise. And even if the teacher used to say today, everyone you have to introduce yours, I'm like, oh my God, I don't like this introduction and all that. Even though it was class of only 20, 21 people, even there, I used to feel this, the butterflies in my stomach that I don't need to talk in front of people. I don't know. I don't know. My English is not at par and my mind does not work when I have to talk. I had to have all those challenges. And 3 months down that time of me being there, one of the things which I realized, Shruti, if not now, then when? You're just behaving just the way. And I think I was some 30, 33, 34 year old. So like you're still behaving the same way what you have done all this while in your life. If now, not now, then when? And I'm going to be giving you a very powerful strategy right now, which is called as always raise hand. My diamond members would know this because this is the place I'm going to be helping. I'm really, really encouraging all of you. And for anyone in the room who has low confidence, I'm the one who's kind of assigning you some of these directions and the tasks wherein you would not know why I'm doing this to you, but I know the reason I'm doing this to bring you to the next level of your own confident self. So what you need to do is, what does it mean is always raise hand. That the moment someone asks the question, the moment someone says who would like to volunteer, the moment someone says who would like to ask, you're going to be the first one saying I'll raise hand. And raise the hand and think, what do I need to do? And this is a strategy which I applied for myself for 3 months. When I was attending, that course of mine, even though my butterfly, my stomach, my heart, all of it, I said, so be it. Now I need to get out of my own self. I need to break the habit of being my own self. So what I did, raise my hand. And then there were times I used to blabber. There were times I didn't know what to talk, but how does it matter? It's only a room of 21 people. And if I cannot have the courage to fail in the room of 21 people, how am I going to be living those desires and the dreams which I have for my own self? How many of you are with me on that? Give me WY in the chat window. Sometimes I've seen when I ask people, they'll send me personal message asking the questions. And when I tell them, put the same question into the group, they would say, I don't know what will people think. If you're going to be getting stuck with what 60 people in the room or 50 people or 30 people in the room are going to be thinking about you. And when they think about you, it's about them. It's not about you. When we're thinking about them and not doing what we're supposed to do, how are we going to be going out and winning the world? So at any point in time, you get into inaction and you feel that, I don't know what will others say, what will they feel. tell yourself what they feel is about them. I'm going to be doing what it takes for me to take myself to the next level. And for some of you, for the ones who are not applying for Super Speaker, what I want you to know is Super Speaker may not be just becoming a speaker, the big speaker out there for you. It may not be that for you. For you, it could be as simple as taking off one layer of your own being. Are you with me on that? If that makes sense to you, give me MS in the chat window. If that makes sense to you. And I think that's the beauty of applying. For me, what I've become in the last 1 year, I would have never imagined that one can go into such a massive growth for their own self. I myself is super duper proud of the things which I have done while being on stage, because for me that stage is very, it's like a temple for me. So for me to be able to do that, not even knowing initially that am I even worth it, am I even deserving for it, but what I want you all to know is none of you here in the room is even aware of that what you are made of. And that's my promise to every single one of you. You will only get to know about your own self when you step into a territory which you have not explored, and the way you will shine. And even if you don't shine the way you want, it's okay. You still tried and you did it, because there's so many people out there who are only thinking next year. Awesome. Thank you so much for giving me those goosebumps in the chat window and bulb on in the chat window. None of us are perfect to be right there. One of the things which Siddharth said as a jury member during Super Speaker, that we are so glad that we don't have to do all of this stage speaking, and I'm doing all to be here as a part of Success Gyan, because it does take a lot of you to get there. But what I also want you to know is every single one of you have it inside you. It's just that you need to take that step and say, let me just go ahead. Let me just not wait myself to get good. I will do it and I will get good on the way. This building of us is always on the way rather than sitting and saying, let me just see them, let me just do them. That's not going to be building the confident muscle. So go out there and build the muscle and see, yeah, absolutely that extra inch, as Meenakshi is saying, my diamond member, that extra inch that we need to move through every single moment next time. Any dress code specifically while making the video? So with respect to the dress code, what I would say is, now this is very personal. It actually is absolutely on you. How do you want to do it? How, what comes naturally to you? For me, it's extremely important for us to look our presentable self. Come on, guys. We are going to be the speaker out there, right? We are someone who wants to create an impact. We want to create an influence in the lives of people. And we as human beings, whether we like it or we do not like it, we are visual in nature. Even when we are picking a salad, we're going to be always picking a good looking salad rather than something which is like, when we are picking up a pastry or we're having a cake, the first thing we look at is how that thing looks visually. And then we take a choice that I'm going to be tasting this one or that one, buying a house, buying a clothes, buying a car. We're all very visual in nature. So when we are someone who's kind of, making those judgments for every single thing which we are doing in our life, knowingly or unknowingly, then we need to take care of our own self as well. If you're not checked out, do check my TED Talk, which is on being your best visual resume. And I think that was the first time I think I stood on stage. It was such an uncomfortable moment for me. And you can actually see the difference between my TED Talk and my Super Speaker talk. There's a lot of difference in the way I deliver. And exactly, I want you to know that every master is once a disaster. And I myself get a little crunch in my stomach when I see my TED Talk. Oh my God, what, how I could have done it so in such a better way. But then the concept of the TED Talk is about this, that we're very visual in nature. So we need to really make sure. So you don't have to be Katrina Kaif, or you don't have to be the John Abraham. What you truly need to be is your best presentable self when you're making the video. When you're making the video, just be your best presentable self, and also see, there are not a lot of distractions. There's not like kai taar aa rahi hai, kuch ho raha hai. Don't see that there's a lot of distractions behind, and sit on a corner where it probably is the white, background, or just, it has to be presentable, and you're going to be someone who can easily make it out that it is presentable. And, right now what I'm looking at is good. So you can have a basic makeup. Like today when I'm talking to you, today is my first off day, I think after I don't know how many days. I've been doing webinar on all the days from last so many days, and today was my, today is actually my off day. So if you actually see, I'm not wearing a lot of makeup. I've just come as, just like this. But this is not going to be me when I go for my webinars and my sessions. I just took a little break from today because I have some breakouts as well happening on my skin. So what I want you to know is you need to be looking your presentable best. For my diamond members, you know the science behind why I wore the red, right? And you know this, the complete, the complete story behind it as well. I wanted to look my confident self. And for me, red is that what it brings to me. That's how I feel confident. So when there is something which is very important to you, it's not just about the content. You need to take care of your overall appearance, your behavior, the way you use your body language, and how do you feel in what you're wearing. So you cannot be someone just say, like, for me personally, if you're going to be saying, Shruti, but this is my authentic self, I can go put my hair like this and go my video. Shruti cannot do this. Shruti needs to look really presentable when Shruti goes, because that's how I feel confident. It is about me. So I would say look at yourself as well and see, if you're going and, be your presentable best. Okay, your video is frozen, missing your expressions. Okay, is it? Okay. Okay, so that's that's how it has to be. You can, someone says, I'm going to be like this, I'm just going to be going out there, I'm authentic, this is who I am. Now, I personally always say this, um, it is good to be authentic to who you are, but you also need to be authentic and appropriate to the role, to the goal, and to the occasion which you're going. Because when you are able to build an authenticity to that level, that's exactly when you are into your highest form of authenticity. So you cannot say that I'm the speaker, I'm working for, becoming the best speaker out there, but then I'm saying I'm just going to be going into my whatever. This is who I am. You take it or leave it. Doesn't work out like that. You need to look like one. You need to be that one. So I'm not saying you really need to like pura colorful ho ja. Now somebody is going to be getting really this thing. Do I need to wear a lot of makeup? Nothing of that. So just be your authentic self and look your most presentable self. Your version of most presentable self. I've seen some of the people not even getting ready and making the videos of super speaker. Don't do that. Just bring out your best. Yeah, this is like literally your best shot. So go out there in the best possible way you can be, so that you're able to create an impact in every single area, in every single way you can do that in the minds of others. Yes, awesome. Anyone has any other question? Any other question? Any other question? Any other question? So let me just see. I want to know, how about special elements so that people feel it's from our heart, which is a very beautiful question. Now, how to make your speech coming from your heart? The first and the foremost thing you need to see is it's your speech. The more you will copy paste, the more you will make it about somebody else, which means that you've just taken up the vocabulary of someone else. And I've given you a lot of strategies on how to craft your speech. Just go ahead and watch that particular video. I think it's day 2 or day 3. Now, what I want you to know is your first version, maybe you're like literally a version 1. When you've written your first version, then you go into it again, and then you start asking yourself, is it creating an impact on me? If your speech will create an impact on you, it will create an impact on people. Most of us, when you're talking about, most of us, when we are, when we are crafting our speech, we're like, I need to say something so that people kind of feel it very good. Our complete focus is on what people will see, what people will feel. I will say the first and the foremost important thing is for you to feel ki, Arey, wah, what must, maza aa gaya, what I have written for myself, really the impact which I've created in my speech, and really which I have, you can start with a draft. Your first speech is not, if I have to show, I wish I could show you guys my first India speech, my first speech in itself, they're like very far from what I eventually delivered. Because when I wrote the first speech and I read that speech and I gave it to my, we all have friends, So I said it to my college friends who do not belong to this industry. They are doing their own professional stuff. They're not a speaker, they're not a trainer, they're not a coach, they have no idea about this. But the moment they read the speech, they're like, Sati, where are you in this? Huh? Kuch bhi likh diya. So I was like, okay, yeah, makes sense. And that's exactly when I sat down with it again and I started changing the words and started asking myself, what's India to me? What's India to me? And that's how, Sachin came, Shah Rukh Khan came. I actually had Amitabh Bachchan as well, but because the speech was going very long, so I kind of removed Amitabh Bachchan. And that's exactly, how if you see the reason I spoke about Golden Temple, there's so many things about India which we can talk. The reason I picked Golden Temple because I'm more close to Golden Temple because I'm a Punjabi. Now, for someone else, it could be different. Now, the moment it is closer to me, automatically my heart will go into it. Oh, automatically, when I have to talk about Golden Temple, my heart will talk a little more because that's something which is close to my childhood. That's a place I used to visit when I was a kiddo. So, that's how the heart comes into your speech. But if you're going to be just picking it from the internet and just going to be writing and giving you to say this, or I just heard another coach talking it, the first version could be coming from there. The first version could be coming from there because you are not confident that what I'll write may not work out. The first version could be there, but then sit down with your own self. Most of us have this challenge that we don't sit down with our own self. Sometimes we just throw questions out saying that somebody else will give me the answer. They can give you the answer, but for how long? So it's extremely important for us to sit down with our own self. And I always say that this is something which I tell even to my diamond members as well, that when you ask a question, have you asked that question to your own self at least 3 times? If you were the Shruti of someone else's life, what would have been your answer to your own self? Because you are very amazing when you have to coach someone else. But when we have to coach to our own self, it becomes really tricky. So, what I would say is for every single one of us, when we are getting that jitter in our stomach, in our heart, it's only an indication that we need to sit down with a pen and paper and scribble. Scribble, 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 and you'll see how you will be able to take out your own voice. Because personally, I feel eventually being a speaker or being out there on the stage is about you adding an expression to your voice. And if you're not going to be doing it that now also, and going to be waiting and copying and picking from someone else, then where's the expression now? Then we're again stuck in our own identity. So this is an opportunity for us to fly higher and break free from our own identity. Okay, awesome, super. Removed Amitabh Bachchan. Yeah, I had written, it was March, April time now, so Holi was going on. So I had written when India is about Amitabh Bachchan, Rang Barse. And another thing which I want you all to know is that I had, when I had added, and when Shah Rukh Khan sings, Tujhe dekha to ye jana sanam. Last day I removed this line. Why? Let me tell you why. Because I'm not a singer. I have never sang ever in my life, even during my parties and all. I dance, I don't sing. So I cannot be someone who, in the most important speech of mine, adding a song. And I felt if I add the song, what if on the stage I don't get that tone because it's not authentic me? I removed the name. So since I've removed the song. So since I'm a dance person. So what I did, I said instead of me saying, when Shah Rukh Khan sings, Tujhe dekha to ye jana, what I did was I removed that line. I instead said, when Shah Rukh Khan opens his arms wide open, because body language comes natural to me. So I want you to know this is how deep the authenticity has to be. I even had a poem in my India speech towards the end, and it was very amazing poem. I know it gave me goosebumps, and I knew it would have created an impact like Mazedar wala. But then I removed that poem also. Why? Because I'm not poetic in my life. Never in my webinars, in my sessions, I ever talk about poem. I'm more of a quote person. I will use more quotes in my deliveries and all. So if you see in all my speeches, there are quotes in one way or the other because that's something which is my authentic. So I removed the poem as well, even though it could have created the impact, but I don't know if that was felt authentic when I was on the stage. So for me, that's how I made things closer to my heart. And the best way is to go closer to your own heart. Yeah. If you forget any line or something, then how to cover it and don't let anyone know that you have missed something. You know what? If you miss something, it's only you who know that you have missed something. People don't get to know. Like in my first speech, my watch opened. The lines which I said when my watch opened, and that watch which I was wearing, it has never opened in any of my webinars. So when it opened, firstly, I thought, let me just not close it, let me just go ahead with this. But then I realized, oh my God, if I do like this, it might fly off. So I tried, first time I tried, it didn't close. I tried the second time, it was not closing. I don't know why it was not closing. It was just my, whatever you call it as a bad luck. And during that time, I skipped a few words and the lines. I got disconnected with that, what I was talking. So, but of course, some of the people did get to know that my watch had opened, and but at the same time, some of the people said that we didn't get to know that, that you went little off the speech. We felt that whatever you spoke was, we didn't realize that you missed a line or you missed a word or you went here and there. For us, the speech was okay. Only just that, yeah, we noticed that your watch opened. So what I want to know is nobody knows your speech. Even if you miss something, right, they are not getting to know as long as you do not change your body language. You kind of still continue staying. So it took me 2 to 3 seconds to get back to, it was a tough thing for me as well. I'm not going to be, not going to be, not going to saying that it wasn't tough. It was very tough for me to come back on my speech. But I think the practice helped. The practice helped, even though I felt that my first half went a little off in my heart because I couldn't deliver what I wanted to deliver. But then I was able to come back because I had practiced it enough. Yeah. So if you forget it, you're the one who only knows. Nobody else knows that you have forgotten some line. Just keep going. Just keep going. Okay. I'll be an amazing speaker, Shruti. I promise. Awesome, Riksha. Just go and kill it. Yeah, I saw that. But you were perfectly good with your speech. Yeah. So from outside, people didn't get to know. From inside, I knew that I've kind of made a little blunder. What I spoke during those few seconds was not something which is part of my speech. I didn't realize, but from said then knew it. Okay, yeah, yeah. So that did share it that that's what happened for me, and I think for me, my first speech was the one where I had got the lowest points, and I also realized that. I still wear the same one. It has not opened ever after that day. But that's how it is, and that's what it is. One of the things which I personally feel is these are also moments for you to realize that even things go bad. And that's what the confidence is all about. Confidence is not about that you know it all. It's not about that. It's just about that when things go bad, you will be able to figure it out at that point in time. The first thought which had come to my mind at that point in time is to tell them, can we stop and can I restart again? My watch has opened. All these thoughts came and I'm talking also, and all these things are running in my head also. That, can we please stop, and do I have an option to do a reshoot? But I didn't know whether we had an option to do a reshoot, and there was no option. None of us got an option to do a reshoot. It's just like a one flow. If you're making a mistake, you make a mistake, and that's pretty much it is. No reshoots at all. It's like proper reality show which is going on. So so what I want you all to know is not only for this on the stage of super speaker, in the stage of life as well, there are going to be so many times we'll not know what to do. There are going to be so many times we will not know whether we're moving in the right direction. But one of the things which we need to keep in control for ourselves is take it. It's okay. I'm still doing it. I'm not someone, I'm still a human, right? I'm not a robot. I am supposed to make mistakes. I genuinely, I am like that kind of a person. And the more you throw your vulnerability out like that to people, people connect. The more we kind of create a hype that we are so and so and all of that stuff, people will like you for first time, but they will not be able to like you for a very long time. Sometimes I feel the sophistication can attract people for one time, but it's the vulnerability which is going to be helping people to stay with you for a longer time. That makes sense to you all. Give me yes in the chat window. Yes. Awesome. Universal way of challenging us. Perfectionism absolutely kills. It's like, it's perfectionism cages us in our own growth. Literally, it's like some of us are enslaved to it. I've been enslaved to it from a very long time. Worked really hard for myself to know that it's going to be shabby. It's going to be big time shabby. Just keep going on with it. What matters is that you need to take a step. And I want you all to write this down. I made 51 learnings after I finished Super Speaker. Literally, I documented my journey, 51 learnings of my Super Speaker. Diamonds in the room, just remind me, I'm going to be giving you that document as well. Now, what was the thing was in 51 learning, one of my learning was a flawed step is better than no step. So a flawed step is better than a no step. So please make sure that if you are someone who's stuck into inaction, just know that something needs to be done. Otherwise, you will not know what has to be done. Yes, awesome. So superb. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. Okay, Subhashini has a raise of hands. Subhashini, just go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question. For the people who needs to, okay, no question. Okay, so if there are no more questions, I'm just gonna be, saying bye to you all. Whatever my sincere request to you all is, please make sure that you rock the journey together. I know it for a fact that you're amazing, awesome. The opportunity has come your way. Grab it and just go out there and have a rocking